Dynamic universe, I gave you an introduction of it. It's an observation independent universe. It's an observer independent universe. What creates these universes is the possibilities. Every single possibility automatically is going to create its own universe. All right, so every single possibility will come to pass in its own universe. All right, a great example of it is the sliding door. All right, so Hugh Everett is the guy who came up with that. This was his PhD dissertation in 1957. He worked under John Wheeler. By and large, his interpretation was rejected up until 1970s. And something happened in 1970s, as you will discover, much of the physics community ended up migrating to his interpretation from the Copenhagen interpretation. And you will make the same migration at some point. Okay, you will go from what's comfortable, which is the Copenhagen interpretation, a commonsensical interpretation, to his interpretation on your own. It's going to make sense.
Have you ever wondered what might have been? Would things be different if you caught the train instead of missing it? How much would your life change if you were 10 minutes early? Instead of 10 minutes late.
Helen?
I had just caught that train. I'd been home ages ago.
Don't go wondering about things like that. Now, Helen's life is about to go down two different tracks. Gwyneth Paltrow and Gwyneth Paltrow in the story of a woman about to choose between a life with a man she's always loved.
Jerry, I asked a simple question. There's no need to become Woody Allen.
And the life with a man she's just met.
I kissed you.
Yeah, I spotted that too.
Miramax Films and Paramount Pictures present a romantic comedy about young blood.
I'm over it. No, you're not. I am.
And life's infinite possibilities.
Don't think that
I didn't take that.
I'm truly, truly sorry.
Two lives, two chances, and the destiny that lies behind two sliding doors.
All right, so what's the premise of this movie? All right, if you want to jump in, just feel free to jump in at this point.
The movie shows like, oh sorry, I don't know.
No, that's fine, go ahead.
The movie shows like two different scenarios. There's like one like you can think of as A, like if you were there a couple minutes like before, and then I guess a different scenario B, and it just plays out through the whole movie like that. Like showing like if you were there like before, like if you were like for instance like if she was late, like, delayed, and then if she wasn't there. Pretty much. That's how I feel like the whole movie was about. Just scenario A and then C and B kind of thing.
Okay, April, I'm gonna give you 10 points for your explanation. All right, so here's what I'm looking for in this question. Premise of the movie is sliding doors. That's it, sliding doors. In one scenario, she was able to go through the sliding doors. In the second one, she wasn't, right? All right, she was able to make it through the sliding doors, and she wasn't able to make it through the sliding doors. So what happened? There was a kid that got in front of her. She got delayed, so she couldn't make it through the sliding door. So there was a 50% chance that she was going to make it, and there was a 50% chance that she wasn't going to make it. So what happened? Because there were two possibilities, universe split into two halves, two branches. Universe ended up branching out. In one universe, she went through the sliding doors. In the other universe, she didn't. All right, so what caused the universe to split in the movie? All right, so okay, it's always the same answer, guys. In the movie, it was there were two possibilities. Either she was going to make it through the sliding doors or she wasn't. Those possibilities split the universe. That's it. All right, it's the same question. Question number 2, according to Everett-Minowel's theorem. This is parallel histories or the parallel universes. What causes the universe to split into parallel realities? Possibilities. Every single possibility is going to create its own separate universe. Every single possibility will come to pass in its own universe. So in this universe, there were two possibilities when she was in front of sliding doors. Either she was going to make it through the sliding doors or she wasn't. All right, so as a result, what happened? The universe is split. In one universe, she made it through the sliding doors. In the other universe, she did not. So universe ended up branching out. Universe ended up splitting into two different branches. Reality is split into two. That's what happened. All right, so again, it's the same question. What caused the universe to split into these parallel realities in this movie? Sliding doors. All right, in one universe, she went through the sliding doors. In the other universe, she did not. Okay, why is it that she was not able to make it through the sliding doors in one universe?
The kid that got in the way.
Right, and the other universe, what happened to the kid?
The mom pulled the kid away.
Yeah, the mom pulled the kid away, right? So there was a split second decision there. All right, and then obviously it created two universes. All right, so let's focus on consciousness at this point. The dynamic universe is one of consciousness experience. The entire quantum theory is one of consciousness experience. What is consciousness as far as you guys are concerned?
Part of reality that nothing really happens in the physical world unless a conscious mind observes it.
Flora, I'm going to give you 5 points for that one. That's not your definition, is it? You looked it up.
Yeah, I looked at it.
You looked
Well, in the movie,
what that
the
means-
documentary.
Okay, very good. Let me give you 10 points because I kind of like that. Which means that if you don't observe it, it doesn't exist. Outside consciousness, there's no reality. So the question is, what is consciousness?
A person's awareness of any given situation.
Okay. Rachel, I'm going to give you 10 points. Consciousness is awareness. That's it. That's it. Outside of awareness, there's no reality. And that kind of makes sense. All right. There's consciousness is awareness. It's awareness of what's going on externally as well as internally. That's consciousness. All right. That's what makes you alive. You cannot be indifferent. You're part of this reality. And consciousness is what makes it real. All right. So what's consciousness? It's awareness. That's it. Your internal awareness, your external awareness. Consciousness is awareness. So question number 5, when the universe branches out, like the way it's portrayed in this movie, what happens to one's own consciousness? So the universe is branching out. So what happens to one's own consciousness? So go back to her. What happened to her consciousness? Her reality split. She also split into 2 parallel selves. And then what happened to her consciousness? Her awareness also split into these 2 universes, right? So consciousness also split. And at that point, she started to have 2 different life experiences. She had two different and separate awareness or awarenesses. I don't know if that's a term. And she started to have 2 separate life experiences. So what happens when the universe splits? You split into 2 universes, and your consciousness also splits into these branching universes. All right, so the original consciousness will split into these branching universes. All right, so question number 6, when the universe branches out, like the way it's portrayed in the movie, what happens to one's own consciousness? Of course, it's going to split as well. All right, so question number 5 and 6, they're the same, so we'll move on. All right, question number 7, how does one's own consciousness differ from the other in the branching universe? All right, now this is a loaded question. The reason why it's a loaded question is because what is the difference between your original consciousness before the universe splits and your consciousness after the universe splits?
Situations you go through.
Okay, Joe, I'm going to give you 5 points on that one. I need more of an explanation. So before the universe splits versus after the universe splits, the only difference is your consciousness is going to split into 2, right? When the universe splits, you will have 2 separate consciousnesses. That's it. Before the split, you were the same person. After the split, now you got 2 separate consciousness, 2 different identities. That's the difference. Before the split, it was the same. After the split, that same consciousness, the original consciousness, is going to split into these branching universes, which means now you got separate identities. All right, so they're no longer the same. The awareness changes. It's almost like you were one person and then you split into twins and triplets and so forth. All right, at that point, the consciousness split and they have separate identities. That's the meaning of it. All right, question number 8. If one dies, I'm talking about one of the parallel selves, dies, how does this affect the consciousness of the other one in a branching universe? All right, so I like this question because what would happen after the universe splits and then your consciousness, awareness is going to split into these universes, and in one universe, one of you, what happens when one of you die? One of you dies, so what happens to the surviving ones? Will they be...
Don't they just continue on their own lives?
And it should be, right? Because what happens at that point, once the universe is split, once your consciousness splits, your awareness splits into these separate identities, there's no relationship between these parallel selves and other parallel universes. All right, these are parallel universes; they do not intersect. So every self is going to have an independent life and existence in their own universe. So if one of them dies, it's not going to affect the surviving ones in the other universes. All right, so there's no connection at that point. Parallel universe means that reality parallels the realities in other universes. There's no intersection. It's like a Las Vegas commercial at that point. What happens in a parallel universe is going to remain in a parallel universe. All right, so that's the way it should happen. But in the movie, how many of you guys noticed that she had a deja vu experience? All right, so so there was a little bit of a communication between the parallel selves in the movie. In reality, that would not happen. All right, so that's it. All right, before we move back out and then back into physics, do you guys have any questions?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Jen.
So in the many worlds, you were saying any decision can create its own universe. Is that like every single decision all the time? Wouldn't there be like a million, billion worlds out there? Like, or does it only happen for certain decisions?
Okay, Jen, I'm gonna give you 5 points for the question. That's a really good question. The thing I don't like about it regarding decisions, making decisions puts you in charge. All right, the universes will split into these parallel possibilities and it doesn't have anything to do with decisions. All right. If there are 20 possibilities, 20 universes, 50 possibilities, 50 universes, and I know that most of you guys have done your internet research. If your decisions in no universe, your decisions does not have any bearing on the creation of these universes in reality. All right. If there's no possibility of something happening, it's not going to happen. You are the one who's going to end up getting your consciousness, yourself, will just branch out into these universes, regardless of what your decisions are. All right. So you have no control over anything in any of these universes. Static universe, you have no control. In a dynamic universe, you have no control. All right. Only universe where you may have control is, I was going to say this one, but that's not true either. All right. So minimalist interpretation is just an observation independent universe. That's what it means. So universe simply is going to split into these possibilities. In the movie, Sliding Doors, did she make a decision that created a universe? Not really. All right. The universe ended up splitting into two, regardless of her decision. The only thing she was going to do was she was just going to catch the train. That was the decision that she made. And then two random thing happened. The kid was in front of her, so she got delayed. Or the kid was going to get pulled out of the way. And in one scene, the kid got pulled out of the way and she wasn't delayed. That's it. So outcome had nothing to do with her decisions.